YouTubers, it's influencers, and there's another great story we can talk about that. Do you want to cover another story that make you depressed for humanity, Lucas?
I mean, I don't think I've got a choice about this, do I?
Because this is a fun story as well.
I love being depressed about humanity, Karl.
No, it's just this is the place humanity's going. So, Right. So we all know about Instagram influencers, correct?
About what, sorry?
Instagram influencers.
Oh, I'm aware of them.
Yeah. So, and we all know that most of them are full of shit, and they buy followers, and they all fake everything.
Yeah, of course.
There is a trend. Faking influencers. There we go. Oh, there's a good story about that as well. While I'm trying to find the one I'm finding is Carolina Calloway. If you've heard of her.
I've heard of the name. I think you've brought her up before.
She's a huge deal on Instagram, and she's got like 700,000 followers. And it turns out that the reason she got famous is because of her like inspirational captions on her photos. And it came out yesterday that she had a ghostwriter for all of her captions.
Oh, no.
And she was paying some random person she met, basically minimum wage, to caption her photos.
And then all of a sudden gained like 700,000 subscribers from it.
Oh, no, she bought followers as well. And
oh, right, okay, cool.
So it's fake it till you make it, so you got to respect her for that. And then it turns out like she got offered $500,000 to write a book. Which she suddenly turned down when she realised she had to write it herself.
Oh, no.
And then she hosted like a, what was it now? Not a convention, a workshop.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
On like how to be an inspirational person. And she charged like $200 to go to it. And it turns out like because she didn't know what the fuck she's doing, because she just pays someone to do it for her, she turned it into like a glorified meet and greet. And people were turning up with like notebooks and pens to pick her brains about, okay, so how do you anticipate changing trends and things like that, and how do you know what your audience wants? Like, I don't know.
I've got no idea. Would you like a signature?
Do you want to pose for a photo?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find the story. I don't think I can.
But you know what? She could be like, oh well, if you pose with me, I'll put you on my Instagram and get my writer to write something inspirational on our photo.
Oh, it's so good. No, I can't find the story I'm talking about, which is a bit frustrating. But what it is, if I recall the details, it's young kids around my sister's age, in fact, like 16, like 15, 16, that age, when you're just about to go to college, and some of them are pretending to have brand deals on Instagram.
What?
Like Joe saying, like, take a picture with a bottle of water or something, say, oh, I'm sponsored by this product.
Okay.
Because that makes you cool. Like, do you know, like, back in the day, maybe a kid would, like, pretend to smoke or drink or be having sex at that point.
I mean, I guess,
to seem cooler. They're pretending to have brand deals on Instagram.
But isn't that really, like, easy to disprove?
Well, not really, no. Because like, when you were a kid, how many times did you meet that person who said he'd had sex? And it's really difficult to disprove them.
Yeah, but that is...
Everyone knows that kid who's full of shit, but there's always someone who believes them.
I mean, yeah, that's true, I suppose.
And that is a thing that is happening. And another one that I saw, which is similarly about kids around my sister's age, I think, is parents hiring, I shit you not, Fortnite coaches.
Oh, no, I have heard about this, yeah.
You have heard about this? Okay. Tell me about it.
Well, I mean, it's as simple as it sounds. Like, parents are literally paying, like, adults that are good at Fortnite to come round to their house and teach their children how to be better at the game so that they'll, like, fit in school and be able to have, like, bragging rights for winning and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because, as you say, like, instead of getting good at, football or whatever, now kids getting cool are getting good at Fortnite. Which is, it's bizarre.
Right, and another one that I found while researching trying to find the other story, because this is just something I found really funny. And there's a whole trend on Instagram. It's not a remarkable revelation that a lot of people fake stuff. People buy followers, they fake. This is probably one of the best stories to come out of that in the last couple of months, and it is a lady called Tiffany Mitchell. So if you'd just like to now type that into your computer, Lucas, and just type in Tiffany Mitchell bike accident. Don't worry, it's not going to give you a bad photo.
Okay.
And I'll explain the story before you hit Google search and go look at the images. And the story is that she is a lifestyle blogger, which basically means like she doesn't work and takes photos of herself traveling around the world. Mm-hmm. And she was going on a motorcycle trip across some part of the world with her friend. And she says, I had an accident where I fell off my bike and really horribly hurt myself. Thankfully, my photographer friend was on hand to document the whole thing. And now click search and go look at the photos of what is supposedly a horrific bike accident. And let me know when you find it.
Oh, wow.
So just describe the photos to me, Lucas. There's 2 or 3.
So there's the first couple that come up for me are like professional photographs, like really crisp, clear quality photographs of a bike that is propped up on the side of a road. Yeah. Absolutely like pristine condition. A helmet placed on the floor like at the front of the picture and perfectly just placed in the corner of the picture, not to obscure anything, perfectly propped up in a helmet, nice helmet position so you can see exactly what it is without getting in the way. And then, this woman on the floor, on her back, or on her side, depending on the picture, and she's just, slightly holding her head, with no visible injuries, no, marks on her clothes, nothing.
Yeah, I'll say
a woman who was literally just lay on the floor and gone, ow.
I will say, if you think you see a scuff on her shoulder, that she has a tattoo there.
Yeah.
And she did post photos after this that showed that she did sustain some kind of injury. But I will point out that in none of these photos, you can see said injuries. So they were either touched up after the fact or faked after the fact.
And it looks like she is
healed slightly.
It looks like she is in zero amount of pain.
But the best one is the guy who's trying to help her up, and he looks like a fucking male model.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's in a L'Oreal advert, and she's just emerging from like a waterfall.
Right. So if anyone has ever watched non-American football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, football, real football, it looks like any footballer who was been tapped on the shoulder and just absolutely dropped like a bag of shit on the floor.
So you should point out that she did suffer a legitimate injury that she has documented evidence of. It's just that you can't see any of it in this because they were either touched up or it's taken after the fact. But the bit that really gets me is, I'm presuming, Lucas, you can notice something in one of the photos that's oddly prominent in the shot, considering it's supposed to be of her injured, dying on the floor. And is it the bottle of glacé smart water?
That's perfectly on a different picture. Yeah. There's 2 bottles of branded water in the middle of the shot, right in front of her as she's lying on the floor injured. Yeah. And they're not thrown to the side or anything. It's 2 perfectly placed and centered shot bottles of branded water where you can see the brands as well.
Yeah, pointed towards the camera.
Yeah, the brands are pointed towards the camera.
And that's just... I believe she took the photos down.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Which to me screams legitimate.
Yeah.
But I just found that so funny because I remember I saw the headline. I went, it's never going to be as fake as they say it is. And I click it, it's just glacé smart water. And she looks like a male model who's supposed like a paramedic. He's in skinny jeans picking her up. And it's oh my God. It's so obvious.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Oh man, I'd have more respect if you just said, "Nah, fuck it, I faked it. I'm awesome."
I really love the fact that it's an accident, but every single thing in the shot is perfectly placed for a picture.
Accidental, right?
Every single thing is propped up, perfect position, all laid out correctly, and all facing the camera.
It also says a lot that her photographer friend, rather than helping her, took a photo of her dying on the floor.
No, they took 4 professional photographs with things moved around in the composition.
So presumably they moved the things around for the shot composition as she's lying on the floor waiting for help. So each scenario is equally as bad. Either they faked it for social media clout, or her photographer friend is a sociopath who saw a woman in agony and went, "Oh, look at this, it's beautiful, it's art. Excuse me, can you move that helmet into the shot, please?"
I would guess that was, a good solid 5-10 minutes of taking photographs there and setting up
he's
each
got, like,
different picture.
He looks like he's set up a fucking lighting rig as
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
taking it. It's so good. If people at home just Google these photos, they're amazing.
Keep lying there on the floor, Tiffany. I need to get one more shot.
Oh man, there's something in my head. Like, I respect the hustle. Like, anyone who wants to do that, and if you get away with it, fair play to you. But
if you get away with it, yeah, but don't make it that fucking obvious.
It's amazing how much of like that world is as fake as you'd assume it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know the people on it are fake, but everything about it, like, it crumbles like a house of cards, but the cards are beer mats that have been soaked in piss and been left to dry out in the sun or something. It's crazy. Like, there's another story. We can talk about this one. This is a really fun story, and it was again, I get the details up. It's woman spends $30 living influencer lifestyle. So you can probably try and assume. Here it is. So this is a lady. We'll find her name as it all loads up. This is Lisette Calviero, a 26-year-old New Yorker, originally from Miami, who spent $10,000, or got herself into $10,000 worth of debt, trying to become, and I quote, Instagram famous.
Oh, no.
And Joe, how she got into debt?
Did she like hire out a yacht and ask people to follow her or something?
No, it was. She'd just buy really, really expensive clothes and food purely for the purpose of taking photos of it for Instagram to try and get Instagram famous.
So what plan did she have when she got slightly famous on Instagram? Just dig deeper and deeper and deeper?
No, do what? Because when you're on Instagram, do you know how they make money on there?
I would presume like sponsorships and stuff.
Yeah, that's the way. Like, so that glass 8, that totally not specifically flavored bottle of water, stuff like that. And I think it's like Kylie Jenner famous earns like $1 million a post if it so happens to include a sponsorship. Mm-hmm. And then there's been a huge crackdown in America, specifically from I think the FCC are in charge of this
because they
people weren't
disclosing it as ads. Yeah,
because someone realised along the line, if you say that it's an ad, it gets like 70% less clicks.
Mm-hmm.
And what the FCC have said now is you have to put hashtag ad.
Yeah.
Because what people were putting was hashtag SC, meaning like sponsored content. But they were putting it like in the middle of like 400 other hashtags to try and muddy the waters.
I
and make
guess,
it like,
do they have a rule that you can't still do that?
No, you can't. It has to say ad, and you can get fined for it. I think DJ Khalid.
Can you put hashtag ad in the middle of all your other hashtags, though?
You have to make it clear. It has to be front and centre.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And people who've tried to do that, I said like DJ Khalid, he was like a alcohol sponsor. He got fined like $100,000 for not disclosing that it was an ad. So they have cracked down on people for it.
And how much money did he make off the sponsorship?
Presumably a lot, but it's just, that's a cautionary tale, isn't it?
Oh, it is,
You fine him, and then when that story's out there, people won't do it as much. Mm-hmm. And that's how a lot of people make the money, and that's what they want to do. And you probably heard stories about people like emailing hotels and saying, "Can I have a free stay in return for like staying in a hotel?" That's what they want. Or
see,
free
I understand that, but okay, so this woman's got into $10,000 debt. So say that got her a reasonable follower. Say you got 100,000 followers on Instagram or whatever. Then is the plan that she gets so much money off sponsorships? But, like, I would imagine doing that for, like, the amount of posts that $10,000 will get you wouldn't get you enough followers for the sponsorships to then pay off. So you then need to, like, go deeper down the rabbit hole until you finally get that sponsorship.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what happened here. It's like a sunk cost fallacy where she didn't realise, like, she was just kept putting more money in to try and get more of that, that precious social media clout. And there's good money to be earned doing it, and people do, but you have to get to the point of the people we've discussed already, like the people who are like basically traveling the world and their lifestyle is funded by digital sponsorships, and stories like that inspire people to also try and do it. But as we've already talked about, a lot of it's just fake, a lot of it's made up. You have to be really fucking seedy. You have to play, you have to hustle, you have to do some gangster ass moves. And this lady here, she actually had a fairly decent job. It's like she says here, she worked as a publicist.
Oh, right, okay.
So she knew about how to, she knew PR. PR was her literal job. And it says
she
here
still
she would
never managed to fake it.
Yeah, she'd spend hundreds of dollars on clothes for the perfect gram, which is what the young people use for gram photos, and would travel everywhere. And do you know what makes it really sad? Because I love it when I see stuff like this, because I am an idiot.
Yeah.
Correct? This is known.
That's true.
Where's my Instagram? I can bring it up right now. Because I don't care about this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have an Instagram because I like to take pictures of dogs and stuff like that, but I have no desire to become that kind of person. Like, if I got offered a sponsorship, I'd tell them to fuck off unless it's like Monster Energy, in which case, hell yeah, get in touch, Monster. But they've got examples of her photos here. And bear in mind, she's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Just hundreds of dollars or thousands?
No, what I mean, hundreds of dollars, but thousands of dollars in total.
To
travel and get for these perfect gram photos. So on my Instagram, I have a picture of my arse.
Mm-hmm.
It was a picture of me going to change the HDMI cable.
Oh yeah.
My friend took a picture of my arse and put the peach emoji over it.
Yeah.
And I put that on Instagram with the simple hashtag photos from the group chat. So that has about 1,200 likes and I have about 9,000 followers. I'm not bragging here. There's a purpose. This lady here, let's go on to her Instagram profile, has 36,000 followers.
Okay.
She follows also 2,000 people as well. So she's proper on that life.
Yeah.
Here's a photo of her on the US Virgin Islands. So a holiday, she spent about $700 just to fly up. She basically flew over there for a day just to take the photo.
Mm-hmm.
It has 1,900 likes.
So what, that was similar to the amount you had?
It's 700 more, but she has 4 times the amount of followers.
Yeah.
And also, mine's a picture of my arse.
Yeah, exactly.
Hers is one of a perfectly framed photo of her where she travelled to
spending
Virgin
$1,000 to go on a holiday to take a picture and come back.
Yeah.
It's really strange to me, because obviously people see that Instagram post of, oh, I'm doing this for the day. And what people don't seem to realise is that these Instagrammers that have, other than people like Kylie Jenner and stuff, obviously. But a lot of these
millionaires in their own right.
Yeah.
Did it.
A lot of these Instagrammers will, have a weekend where they're in a glamorous location and take 50 photos and spread that out over the year. As well with, a few other holidays, so you don't ever remember the one location. They have a dozen photo shoots over the year, say, and then spread it out.
My friend who does cosplay modelling,
mm-hmm.
she has a huge backlog of photos she can just post if she's on holiday or she wants a day off.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And that's how they do it. And it's just interesting to me because that people spend so much money. She put herself in debt even after she got a really good, high-paying job.
Yeah,
was spending thousands of her own dollars, putting herself into debt to travel to take photos in these exotic locations. And if she just did what I did, which is develop a personality,
mm-hmm.
she could have got the exact same result for posting any random photo of crap that she saw on the street.
That's the thing is, it's really weird because I don't think a lot of people realise that it's not just because somebody is on holiday in good clothes. People don't follow personalities just because, oh look, they're eating a nice meal. Of course there are some channels like that and stuff. There are exceptions, but
generally you have to be the absolute tippy top of what that field is.
Yes, exactly.
So if you're posting pictures of food, you better be a fucking fantastic chef.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually how people do it. And then we'll end with this one more story, if I can remember it, because it just suddenly flew out of my mind. As I said, let's cover one more.
Let's do one more story, but I don't know what that is.
Oh god, don't you really? Oh, it's going to piss me off now. Fuck, it was another influencer story.
Oh god,
I don't know what it is, and it's oh damn it now. Fuck. Ah, no.
Go follow Karl on Instagram.
No, don't do that.
He'll show you a picture of his ass.
It's a picture of a peach over my ass. So let's go for news. Let's see if we can find it, because it might be on the news. Because it's
I was going to say, is this a relevant thing?
It's recently. It's news that hit me. That hit me around the same time as all this other stuff, which is why it's in my mind, because I find it so funny.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Man, there's a lot of news. If you just type in influencer. There's a headline here. Influencer admitted to faking clouds on her Instagram photos.
So they photoshopped in clouds?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, cool, yeah. That's a thing, I
Yeah,
guess.
she was called out for adding. George, she got found out.
Wow.
She was putting in the same clouds into the background of photos, which I think is super hilarious. But I can't find the story. Nope, it completely left my head. And that's going to really frustrate me. But I love things like that because it's just it'd be so much easier if you just try. Oh no, I've got it. I remembered it.
Oh, okay, he's found
right.
it.
I remember what it is.
He walked through a doorway, forgot what it was.
That's what it was. Yeah. Oh man, that's The Sims. That have you ever seen that theory that that's actually God playing The Sims and he clicks the button, and tells you that's not what you're supposed to be doing?
Yeah. I find that really weird that like just crossing through a door will make you more likely to forget what is on your mind.
There is like a study behind that. We can talk about that next time. But here it is. This is on Cosmo.com. So in addition to being like purveyors of really bad sex advice, we've also covered this. Have you ever heard that the best piece of sex advice Cosmo ever gave is just yank a guy's pubic hair?
Oh, what?
We'll cover that another day.
Okay,
we'll cover bad
that's
Cosmo
another
sex
story.
That's next podcast after we cover what I did in Japan.
You know what? I'm going to make a note of that.
Make a note of it because I'll forget, and it's a really funny idea. Right, so I want to read you the headline, Lucas.
Okay.
Right. An influencer with 2 million followers couldn't sell 36 t-shirts.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay. So the story behind this one is, this is an Instagram user called @ARII, so Ari, I presume that's done. And she was given, or she managed to get a clothing deal with some manufacturer to make her clothes.
Okay.
And the basic deal was sell 36 t-shirts, and that will prove that there is an audience or a market for your clothes, and we will sell your clothing line. She posted on her Instagram of 2 million followers, and she couldn't sell 36 fucking t-shirts. Just think about how empty she's called her literal job description is influencer, and she could not influence. Let's work out what that is. So it'd be 36 divided by 2 million.
So that is 0.0018%.
Yeah, no, I've got 0.0000018%.
No, because you times it by 100.
Okay, no problem there. Sorry, I forgot that second step. I was just reading it out as you did. So yeah, so that is less than 0.001% of her total apparent audience. She could not influence less than a fraction of a percent of her audience to buy a t-shirt. At which point can you really call yourself an influencer?
I mean, I would say if you're gonna class yourself as an influencer, at least get to 1%. At least 1% of your crowd should be influenced by you.
And we should point out that it's very difficult to turn followings into follow-through stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the general rule of thumb is about 10%.
I was going to say, because I'm not, involved in any side of this, but I would imagine an influencer that only influences even 1% is a bad influencer.
No, it's about 10% is the most you can reasonably expect. So, for example, on YouTube, if you mention something in a YouTube video, if you get 10% and you tell people, go click this link, if 10% of the people click through to that link, that is seen as being exceptionally good. So 1% would actually be pretty good.
Yeah.
So for 2 million followers, a 1% follow-through rate on everything you advertise is like, 20,000 sales? Mm-hmm. And let's say 20,000 sales of something costing $30. If you make $10 off that, you're making, $200,000?
Yeah.
If you pay the influencer $10,000 to make that post, that's a pretty good deal because you're getting $190,000 in profit from that.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that's why I find it hilarious. Like stories like this keep coming out because they've advertisers started to realize that you can buy followers very easily, and that a lot of people just follow random people. Like this, she seems to be a reasonably attractive girl, in her mid-20s. Like she's gonna have a lot of followers who are just following her for that fact, not for fashion advice and tips.
Yeah.
So if there's any advice I can give to people who want to do this, it's like find a market, zero in on it.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to be an attractive girl on Instagram, you do that shit, but you don't sell random t-shirts to everybody. You sell something that you personally use. 'Cause I think a criticism she got was the clothes she was selling are not clothes that she wears.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're wearing like, oh, I'm wearing X brand over and over again, then when you put up a link to go buy that brand, people will go, oh, I've seen you wearing this in your stuff. Yeah, it's very bizarre to just be like, oh, hey, you've never seen this in any picture, but go buy my clothing. Like, I've never worn it, but you should.
If you've got enough people following you, you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you Kylie Jenner
clearly
not.
$1
million a post.
2 million fucking followers.
It's clearly, she's not got a publicist leaning over her shoulder, whereas someone like that could. And that story to me sums up why this industry is a bubble. Mm-hmm. And it's very similar to YouTube in a sense, because how many stories do you hear about YouTubers who spend loads of money on like setup and gaming and stuff, and have like 4 people watching their streams?
Yeah.
Like, there was one the other day. This is the final thing because this is good. Do you remember My Drunk Kitchen?
God, no.
Right, My Drunk Kitchen. Let's just find out how many followers you got. My Drunk Kitchen. My Hearto on Instagram. So she actually has a name. I just know it's My Drunk Kitchen. And she has it's 2.4 million subscribers. She posted like a thing. So she was doing a thing where it was one of the earlier YouTube success stories. Because it was her getting shit-faced in her kitchen, just cooking. Oh, okay. And she posted a thing like, I'm going to do a live show. Would people come along to it? And it's something like less than 100 people said they would.
Oh, God.
And that just shows like how fickle the world is.
So just to clarify, Karl.
Yes.
Because you have a bit more of like, a following on Twitter, for example.
Okay.
You put up a similar thing. What was your reaction like?
Oh, yeah, I put up a thing saying I'm going to do a live show.
Or potentially, yeah.
We can announce it here as well. I'm going to potentially do a live show because I know a friend who works at Sheffield City Hall, and he has said that I can get you a deal, and the deal will be, it's basically we'll take 10% of ticket sales if you can film one of several rooms, and the rooms go from 100 people to 400 people to 2,500. And I put out the feelers, doing something similar of who would respond. And I can check that now, actually. I think it's my pin post.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, because you can see it, but then you can't see the total numbers of people who responded. I got 1,000 votes, and it was 63% yes. So 630 people. But I would say cut that straight in half.
At least, yeah.
Because most of the people just clicking yes because they think it's a good idea and not
because they'll
if you
actually
can make it to that.
And then there's like timetabling and stuff like that gets involved.
Yeah, but my friend said if like 400 people is reasonably doable.
Yeah,
and that's from 400,000, so that's less than 1% of my audience.
But what that? So how many people would that be from your Twitter audience though?
Like 20,000 people follow me.
Oh, okay. So like that's a reasonable percent of follow through from your YouTube
voting,
and then to
voting
your Twitter.
Yes and saying and turning up is a different thing.
Oh yeah, totally. But considering she had 2.4 million.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's how fickle audience is, and it's because she's changed the content, whereas mine stayed relatively the same. And I am very aware that the exact same thing could happen to me, and people could just stop following me.
Yeah,
I'd get drop off, which is why my friend suggested like putting the feelers out and advertising it, and the deal that I'd get through them, which is if you don't sell this many tickets, we just refund it and no one turns up.
Oh right, okay.
And that's the idea, but I'm reasonably confident I could get like 400 tickets sold.
Yeah,
but that's me being incredibly like optimistic.
Yeah,
from 400,000 people to 400. I think it shows how little how passive most people view content online.
I will say though that is as well, taking into account that a lot of people don't live anywhere near it, and people couldn't get time off work and stuff like that. But yeah, it's still a very, very small amount. Well, that's like 1,000th, 0.1%.
And the difference is I'm aware of that. So I will strategize based on that. I won't look at my thing, I've got 400,000 people following me. I can do an entire world tour, which is what I'm assuming some of these people here have done. So I have 2 million followers. I can sell 2 million t-shirts. I don't fucking work that way.
You know what, Karl? I think 400,000 people is enough for us to try out doing a festival.
It might do, yeah. People have done that. I think that's the kind of thing people will do. I hope I haven't dissuaded anyone from being successful, but I will say it's the 1% rule of the internet.
I mean, I will sit here and say, Karl has encouraged me to not get involved in like the YouTube game. Like, he's just gone, oh, okay, it's happened for me, but goddamn, like, it is difficult and most people don't make it. And I'll try anyway. You've got to just try if you want to, if that's what you want to do.
Try under the assumption that you will fail.
Yeah. Don't go in assuming that you're going to get fucking PewDiePie numbers.
Or just know that, like I've said, you are expected to get like less than 1% of people will give a shit about anything you do outside of the content you create, which is why I'm happy to say like 400 people. That's doable if I fucking put the work in and advertise and use the channel.
Exactly, yeah. And that's exactly. You've got to put the work in and you've got to, get a bit lucky with it as well.
But I will be setting myself up to fail if I immediately booked out a 2,500 person auditorium and then sold 300 tickets.
Let's just set up our own Karl Smallwood like Comic-Con. We'll be fine.
The much better idea is it's always better to aim small and then plan for if you do better than that. Don't aim massive because you're setting yourself up for embarrassment and or failure, and that's not good for anybody.
And I think that the best piece of advice is to never ever buy a following. It will bite you in the arse the hardest way possible. It's because,
maybe not on the lower end, but on the high end, brands, they know. They have people working for them. And what they do is the actual job now is to scour people's social media. Mm-hmm. If for irregularities in their follow account, post like count, follow through on stuff that they advertise, things like that. How many of their actual following are active and follow other accounts. Not to mention scouring it just for, let's say, stuff that's not very brand friendly. So if you want to do this for a living, the best way to do it is just be a genuine person and try your best. And if you only end up being famous to a smaller audience, that's better than being famous to a bigger audience that don't give a shit.
Exactly,
is what I'd say. It's the old Andy Warhol quote of everyone's famous for 15 minutes. There's a revision of that I quite like, which is everyone will be famous to 15 people.
Oh, okay.
And I would argue it's better to have a small dedicated following, like small being a relative term based on what field you're in and what it is you're doing, than a huge one, because at least a dedicated following will support you in more of your endeavours than one who are just largely indifferent to your success, life and person. Mm-hmm. Which isn't really the best advice. The best advice is just aim small.
Aim small and aim for, as you say, people that give a shit.
Don't dream to live in a huge mansion. Dream to own like it's a nice apartment with a dog.
Yeah, exactly. Dream that you can like live comfortably on, by doing something you enjoy.
Yeah,
that's what you should aim for.
That.
Not aim for PewDiePie levels of money.
And my alarm's about to go off, but unfortunately we won't get the nice Irish lady telling us like your alarm's going off. It'll just be a horrible beeping. So, hey Siri. She's ignoring me now. I don't like this. I hate when people ignore me, especially when I say the name. Right, let's just turn my alarm off because that's going to be really loud and annoying. Where the fuck do you find alarms in your phone?
I don't know. I've never used an iPhone, so.
Neither have I.
Well, I've used one for like 20 minutes. Never set an alarm on there.
The first thing I did though before my flight is I downloaded Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. It's like, hell yeah. I'm going to play me some fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! On the plane. No, my alarm's going off.
Oh, God, Karl. Don't do it. No, cancel it.
It's off now. It's cancelled now. Done. Right. So, Lucas, would you like to end this podcast and we'll say our goodbyes?
Yeah, sure.
And you can wish me a good flight.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah. I hope you have a good time in Japan. That lovely, 10-day trip seeing big Gundams and feeding crackers to deers.
Go find my Instagram page to see all the photos I'll upload from that. Let's see if we can get more likes than all those people who can't sell
t-shirts.
Follow
Karl's link to his merchandise on his Instagram page.
I don't put it on there.
No, I'm joking.
I don't advertise my merch page.
I know.
I advertised it on Twitter for a bit, then I turned it off in favour of that other link saying, who'd want to watch me live on stage? We didn't even talk about what I do for that.
No, yeah. We didn't really talk about it, but if you're interested, go to Karl's Twitter and find out.
No, because it'll be a little bit. By the time this goes live, it'll be buried under 3 weeks worth of tweets.
No, just keep it as a pinned tweet, and you can just put all your photos of deers and Gundams up underneath it.
Do you mean like the live show thing or the Instagram thing?
The live show thing.
Okay, so pin that tweet and the Gundam tweet.
No, pin the live show tweet, and then just post pictures of Gundams underneath.
Well, that's going to be on my... Do you know what? Just follow me on Twitter or Instagram if you give a shit. That's the easiest way.
Easiest way to
That's
tell.
the easiest way. And Lucas, get an Instagram page. You need to do it.
I should probably do it, but all I do is like either spend time in your office or spend time at my flat editing shit. I don't have an interesting life right now.
Nisha keeps posting like photos of like me and her cats, and she gets annoyed when pictures of me get more likes than the cats. And I'm like, I'm annoyed about that. The cats should be getting more. The cats are adorable. So
if I had the dog, like I'd probably have an Instagram account. That is the goal. But I live in a block of flats that doesn't allow animals, so
that's
sucks to be me.
To that, then. It's a fucking move, mate. Right. So anyway,
I
have to call it there because I have to now got to go get a fucking
train
Karl. To Japan. But